So, Jonny, Morrowind. When was the first time you played Morrowind? When was the first time you did that?
So, the first time I played Morrowind, I can't remember exactly how old I was. Maybe 13, 14. I'd gotten some pocket money from something.
Oh, it's one of those classic stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I just went down to the local game store, which was conveniently named Game.
Can't miss it.
Yeah, you know, no sort of awards won for whoever named that store. But I asked the guy behind the counter, I don't get pocket money very often.
Yeah.
What game can I buy for my PC that will give me the most amount of hours
Per pound spent.
Is
that actually how you got it?
That is exactly how I got it.
I thought I told you about Morrowind. Did I not tell you? Did I not?
No, this is exactly how I got it.
This is like a coalescing.
And he literally just picked it off the shelf from beside him. And just went, this is the one you need. And it was the Morrowind. It's not the special edition, was it?
No, was it the base game or was it the game?
No, it was the base game. It was with Tribunal and Blood Moon. So Game of the Year edition.
Oh, so it was Game of the Year then?
Yeah,
okay,
Game of the Year edition. Put that on the counter, and it was pre-owned, but still looked like it was in good nick, and it was exactly £10.
Oh shit, that's what I paid for mine actually.
Which was...
You bought Game of the Year Morrowind for a tenner?
For a tenner. I don't even think you can pick that up now. I'd probably look that up. But
it's about 70 quid now.
Now. Initially I was very excited because like the box art was really, really fun, and like the instruction booklets, and I have an absolute penchant for instruction booklets. They just make me so happy to look at. So on the bus on the way home, I'm reading through all this booklet and thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, I've got to try and do that, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look how cool this one is. And I got home, and 4 discs later of installation, and probably more time than I'm really going to get back, the game was installed and ready to play. And instead of opening the game, because I was an idiot child, I opened the construction set and thought that was the game.
You thought,
Yeah, so needless to say, it was like a 13, 14-year-old trying to get on with a game dev's toolkit for the first time without ever having looked at it before. I was like, oh, this is a pretty terrible game. So I didn't really touch it again for a couple of years.
What, do you really?
Yeah, I literally just got rid of it. It was like, nope.
That's too much of a difficulty curve for a 13-year-old to handle for an RPG.
Yeah, so that's my first experience with Morrowind.
Which, mine, I can't remember. My life's a blur since I started that game. Like, I got introduced to it by a friend of mine when I was like 13, 14 at high school. And he was into his strategy games and his RPGs and Doom and all that kind of stuff, and he said, oh, I've got this game on the Xbox, you can borrow it for the weekend. We didn't go to the same school or anything, so like I used to go around to his on the weekend and stuff. And it was Morrowind, and I played this game, and I only knew what to do because I'd seen him play it, and he told me, if it's not nailed down, steal it. And I was like, okay. So I start a new game, and I go straight for Dark Elf. I start picking like the coolest sign. Oh yeah, chameleon. I can be an invisible thief, and then I try to use it, and it doesn't quite work like that. And so I ended up making another character completely like a Nord, who I ended up then spending about 1,000 hours playing as over the course of two or 3 years. But it would be every day, wake up, Xbox, bed. All I did for the summer holidays.
Eat, sleep, Morrowind, repeat.
And I was absolutely hooked on that game from the get-go because I didn't know what I was doing. And I think that's like my favourite part about it.
But it sucked you in because there was so much to learn about it.
Yeah. Like, you know how you can sometimes games appear big, and once you get the hang of them, you're like, oh, that's fine. Like, Far Cry seems big.
Yeah, so and then it's like looking in a shallow pool. It looks like there's infinite depths, but you can paddle in it.
Yeah.
Whereas Morrowind
has no watchtowers.
Oh my goodness, it was like looking into the bottom of a murky pond and thinking, I can swim in that. And then the eldritch horrors drag you down to the deep. To be honest, I didn't actually pick it up again after I'd finished with Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion.
Oh, you played it in that order?
Yeah, pretty much. Because, Oblivion was more exciting. Oblivion was one you put me onto, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, I had absolute field day.
Do you remember the trailer for that? The E3 trailer for Oblivion? Where, like, it's kind of like, it's Patrick Stewart, like, talking about the end of days, and then suddenly you've got all this, like, dramatic music, and you've got, like, the crocodile things, what are they called?
Daedroths.
Yeah, you got them walking towards you, and it shows you, like, casting magic out your hand and not failing the cast. It's like, oh, you can hit things. Yeah, I was so excited for that.
After I finished Oblivion and was like, that was a wholly different type of game to what Morrowind was. Maybe I've missed a trick. Ended up going on a couple of forums and that kind of thing and seeing, oh wait, no, I was just using the wrong fucking disc like an idiot. So it wasn't until towards the end of high school, maybe beginning of college, that I actually was like, okay, we're going to go visit Morrowind, we're going to go onto Vardenfell and have a good old time.
And how old were you?
I was maybe 16, 17.
16, 17.
So,
so college then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I thought you started playing it.
Yeah.
Because I'd obviously like played it for a few years before then. And I remember, I think it might have been when I went round to yours and you went round to mine, and we basically had Morrowind on. And it must have been a similar setup where you had it on the PC. And I don't think you moved the PC downstairs or anything, but like I'm pretty sure that we went our own separate ways and we were both playing it, and then we'd like meet up at college and be like, did you do the thing? I did the thing. How cool was it? Yeah.
I found this.
I found this. What the fuck? I had this sword. What? Yeah. Because you could just swap those stories instantly between them. You could like wake up, go to college and be excited to tell your friend like where you got to on Morrowind. Yeah. And I've not had that in a game before. Because it kept going throughout. It's such a long game.
Yeah, there was a lot of like water cooler talk you could do about it, just because of the amount of different experiences you could have. But no, I do remember that the first character I made, I remember being like, oh well, I did the warrior thing on Oblivion, so on this one, I'm gonna try and be a mage. So I chose all like the different magic-y classes. So I think it was the High Elf or an Altmer.
Yeah.
And then I took the Atronach sign, thinking, oh look, even more magicka and ability to cast spells.
Doesn't that give you a weakness?
So the Atronach doesn't. It gives you ability to absorb spells.
Oh yeah, but you can't
regenerate magicka, which I wish I'd seen before I did it.
Yeah, that sounds.
In retrospect, I probably should have gone back to the instruction booklet because it probably tells you in there. Either way, I did it, and it was this incredibly tall and jaundiced-looking thing in the middle of a world, and I could not swing a sword to save my life. I had some very, very terrible, terrible spells, and no money, and it sucked me in completely.
What, because of how horrible it was to you?
It was just the least hand-holdy experience I have ever had in my life in a video game. Like, it doesn't tell you how to do anything. If you haven't read every single line in the dialogue boxes before you set out to do your quest, you're not going to finish your quest. It does give you a journal which gives you prompts about where to go, but navigating it, even with the tribunal, like, expansion, which improves the
they added like an index, didn't they?
Yeah, you can search by quest instead of just in chronological order as to what it appeared.
That sounds
but
nice.
It's still a horrendous read because it doesn't give you all the information. It just gives you little prompts and goes, you need to go to horrendously named alien ruin.
What are you talking about? It's just over there. If you go left by the rock that looks like a dog, turn right 35 degrees west of that town, you'll eventually come across a fortress. But it's not that you're after. You need to go up to the fortress, then do a left, and then maybe you'll find it. Yeah,
those are the instructions. You see that road there? Don't take that one, or you're no good.
Because there was no nav markers. There was
no navigation.
Nothing.
Which was nice. Not really a compass. There was a mini map which had you sort of like spinning on a dial, so you could sort of decide whether you go north, south, east, or west from there.
I'm still including that. I'm including that as a positive experience.
Well, yeah, massively.
Because the game, the difference was with that, right? The game was designed with that in mind. It was designed to give you instructions on how to get somewhere. You compare that to, say, Red Dead, where you want to try and be the most rootinest, tootinest cowboy boy you can ever be. So you turn off the minimap, you turn off the navigation, you turn off the prompts. You can't actually figure out where you're meant to go because it's designed to do that. It's not designed to let you just kind of roam around the wilderness. It's designed so you are following the beacon, so you'll have to go to a very specific point in the map, but you won't know where that point is.
Yeah, I mean, like, the instructions for locating your quest marker,
Well, not the best.
all the information was there, but you kind of needed a pen and paper at the side of the desk to write down the important bits, because the navigation bits of the dialogue wouldn't come up in the journal, just the name of the place you needed to go to, or the name of the person you needed to see.
It would be the quest that told you how to get there, wouldn't it? It wouldn't actually be telling you how to get there from the location name, right? So you'd have to go out of your way to then look through the journal to find the directions to it.
Yeah, or like going through like all manner of different subheadings and things,
Yeah.
so that you can actually pull up that past conversation. I find it much more convenient to literally just go, okay, where do I need to go? I'll just write that down, put it on a post-it note, like on the top of the computer screen, and then just follow my instructions from there.
Yeah, but that is the exact reason why I played so much of it, because I got lost all the time. I didn't know where to go, so I just went my own way, and by doing that, I avoided every possible quest I could do, and just did my own thing. Found my own dungeons, found my own monsters to kill, ended up getting a random assortment of bits because I couldn't read the directions.
Now, I think I know your answer to this one, but I'll let you know my sort of, like, for me, it took maybe about 10 characters before I even thought, oh, let's go see what that main quest is about. To be perfectly honest, like, I kept getting so sidetracked by just the sheer amount of stuff that you can be doing, like just seeing people on the side of the road and like them saying, oh, I want to go find this brigand that stole my gold. What, so you can get your gold back? No, I just fancy him. Like, there's just so much random ass shit going on in the game all over the place that like you were never short of something to do. And it's so easy to sort of get sidetracked if you're not dedicated to doing the main quest.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish the main quest until this year. Like, because I just never got around to it. Just that many different diversions.
That's completely understandable.
How long did it take you to finish the main quest?
I haven't started. I sold the key items needed to advance in the main quest. You'd have to deliver a package to someone, and I'd sold them because I didn't have any money. And that's why I couldn't do the main quest, but I didn't care. And every time you kill someone important, it does warn you that, you know, you may not have ruined the main quest for yourself, but, you know, after that point, you don't care, do you?
The prophecy has been severed. Would you like to continue in this doomed world? I think it is.
I'll go, yes. What prophecy? I sold all the items, I don't know what you're talking about. But as charming as that can be, there are some... I wouldn't even say I consider them negatives when I played them then, but I think they're glaringly obvious now. It can feel a bit janky.
As much as a celebration it is to sort of say, oh my god, there's so many places to go to, so many things you can do, so many people you can see. You move about as quickly as... I've not really got a good analogy for this yet, but let's just say a snail through treacle. That's... like, there's no... no real way to get around quickly aside from like the in-game fast travel method, which is you have to go to a fixed location, pay a sum of money, and then they will transport you to somewhere else. And there's different ways they can do this, you know, whether it be like through like sailing on a ship, or if you've been using the silt striders, which I'm not going to explain that. Anybody who's watching this video knows exactly what a silt strider is.
I thought the silt striders were just big...
just massive nets?
Yeah, like big... I thought it was big meat...
different breeds.
Big meat balloons with saddles on that you pay a man to then push it, and it floats gently without any resistance, and the next guy catches it and he brings it in. Like little balloon rides. I thought that's what they were. Are they not that?
No. It brings us back to our point before of no two people have the same experience playing Morrowind. If you are going to go back and play it now after being used to so many shiny games, if you got it on PC, there's a whole slew of mods and graphical increases and textures you can add. You can get the thing looking absolutely beautiful, which I mean, some of the footage we'll be showing here, I'm pretty sure you've modded out of quite a few bits there, and it's
Everything's modded.
looking
Everything.
a lot better than it normally does.
There's no reason to play it vanilla. There's other footage.
I disagree. I still find the old style of graphics charming, if only because I'm sort of defending my choice to have purchased it on the Xbox Live Marketplace, where it cannot be modded.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's just confirmation bias that yours was the best, isn't it?
exactly that.
There's a lot of chance we said in the graphics, but I think from my perspective, I've played it so much with those graphics on. It is nice to kind of revisit the game, looking a little bit more polished. But yeah, do you? If you fancy checking the game out and you want to play it how it was originally intended to be played, it's still perfectly playable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's broken or you have to kind of adjust your expectations in any way. Just understand that it is nothing like the later entries of those games. They are... saying they're accessible isn't trying to say that it's bad, because you want people to try and
to be accessible.
You want people to get used to and dip their toe in, but possibly those games at the expense of the point of them. Hello, boy. They sort of went, oh, stats, numbers, nah, I'll just give you perks. And yeah, it didn't really work out so well for all the time. But Morrowind had a lot of under the hood stuff going on, a lot of calculations that even the other day we were still finding this out. Little mechanics, little things that doesn't tell you, but you can exploit heavily. Broken things that make the game so much fun. And for example, speed. You'd think it'd be linked to the attribute speed.
Well, it is to sort of
it is a bit.
A heavy degree.
It is a bit.
But it's also heavily influenced by the athletic skill, which not only makes it more efficient to run, but also makes it a hell of a lot faster. Like,
we didn't know that.
We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't
because
know
nothing
that.
sort of like gives you an inkling, and the
that's
skills
why
don't increase fast enough for you to notice a difference if you do it very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this is why the game is so much fun, because you're still discovering so many things about it.
I mean, in my most recent playthrough, I found out I ran out of mana for casting spells, and I ended up taking a few potions of Sujama, which increase your strength but decrease your intelligence. And then I found out that when...
Sounds like Stella.
Yeah, I drank quite a few of these potions because they stack to get an incredible amount of strength and then no intelligence whatsoever. So I just, I guess, turned into essentially a drooling mass, frothing at the mouth to destroy something. And then I found that once the potion's effect had worn off, I had full mana again. Now, what it turns out is that because your mana, your magicka, is calculated as a percentage of your intelligence. If you go down to 0 intelligence, then your magicka becomes 0 out of 0. The game goes, he has 100% mana, and then gives you 100% mana of what you would have had if you'd not decreased your intelligence.
But you can drink a Sujama potion, you can drink a damage intelligence potion, you can even cast a spell on yourself. But these little things just make the game so tricky and fun to play. And it may even sound confusing, but believe me, once you start dicking around with the content and the mechanics of how to do all this, which is what the game encourages you to do anyway.
Oh, massively!
You can build such a perfect person for yourself with all your little spells that are just suited specifically to you.
The game almost invites you to break it.
Yeah, I'd say
and find the little loopholes and the stuff that changes it. And you can kind of tell this with the way it teases you with bits of loot. I mean, there was one, what was it? The Boots of Blinding Speed, which you get from just a random little quest off in the countryside somewhere. Where these boots will increase your speed by 200, which essentially triples your speed. But it also blinds you by 100%. So if you put these boots on, the screen goes completely black except for your mini-map. And then you're suddenly moving like the Flash across the landscape. But you don't know what's fucking happening. You don't know what you're running into.
Neither does the Flash.
Yeah. So, and you can sort of counteract that with different spells and things to get your sight back up. So, it encourages you to have a play around with the mechanics and find things that work in different ways.
That was definitely more your remit, though. I never
absolutely loved it.
I never had the knack for that.
Finding all the effects of the different spells and thinking, oh, what's going to work well in this place? And, oh, do you know what? I'm not going to get rid of this enchanted item even though it's shit because it might come in useful further down the line. And then it turns out it's very, very useful to cast Levitate 1 point on target because the game's mechanic for enemies and anything like that, it uses Levitate before any sort of like speed or athletics or that kind of thing. So if you put 1 point, which is the slowest possible thing something can go, you've essentially slowed down something's movement speed so that it cannot catch you. So you have all the time in the world to literally do whatever the hell you need to do.
Yeah.
Incredibly useful item, just to go...
Well, because it overrides their speed, right? So you've just effectively slowed them down, and you can just go, ha-ha, and just run away. But yeah,
But it's one of the easiest sort of like spells to cast in the game because it's such a low magnitude. It's like... It attributes to being such a simple spell. And it is. But it's so incredibly fucking useful.
Yeah, no, but the game, again, has a habit of not telling you any of this, but it doesn't punish you for trying it.
Very, very early on in the game, there's... But as you're walking to the next main area, a man will fall from the sky. You'll hear a scream, yeah! And a man will fall from the sky. I can't remember the name of him, but he has on his body... two things. First of all, a journal explaining about how he's going to be the first mage ever to learn how to fly. Because he dies when he hits the ground. And the second thing on his body, these things called Scrolls of Icarian Flight, which fortify the acrobatics in the game by, how many? Was it
500.
500 points. Now, the natural maximum is 100. Okay? So, bear in mind that, like, 50% acrobatics would give you the normal jump height that you're supposed to get to. 100% acrobatics gives you double the normal jump height. So every 50% counts as another 100%, essentially. Now, I can't quite do the head maths right now, but basically that means you've got hella jump on the go. Now... when your acrobatics is that high, you should have enough of ability to stop any damage from you hitting the ground. But the problem with these scrolls is they don't last long enough for you to jump and then come back down.
No, they got, 3 or 7 seconds duration on them or something?
Yeah, but, I mean, after trial and error, you figure out you can cast 1 to do the jump, and 1 just before you hit the ground to make sure you don't turn into mulch on the ground.
Or find a giant building to smack into and then you'll be fine. It'll break your fall.
But that was my first introduction to the massive ass loading times. Taking one of those, like using one of those scrolls, thinking, I'm just going to jump to the next destination, it'll be so much faster. And then it hitting, like, essentially an invisible wall of having to load the next area. And then it just... like the loading screen began, and then it was like this slow ass little. I was like, let's go make a cup of tea.
but those scrolls are what, a 30-second walk outside the first town. So the way you naturally go anyway, you'll go up a winding path. If you go past the fast travel, and you'll hear a guy screaming, like you were just saying, like he's been stowed in the landing gear of a plane or something, and he's just crashed down. And you're like, it's like, where's this fucker come from?
This is how it encourages you to break the game.
Yeah, that's in the first 5 minutes.
In the first, 5 minutes, you gain an item, which breaks the game.
Having played it furiously for the past 2 or 3 days to try and get a bit of footage and just to re-immerse and remind ourselves of this game, because
video homework basically.
Yeah, because I mean you've played it before for a while, and I kind of spat it in and out, kind of like, I should give Morrowind another go, and but lol, video games, I've got newer things to do. I never really kind of commit to it for as long as I wanted, because it demands a great deal of your time to invest. You can't kind of give it nowadays. Yeah. Like when you're a bit older.
I mean, silver lining to this, current situation, wherein suddenly all of us have a lot more free time.
It's a perfect time for Morrowind, yeah. But is it still playable if you were to go in blind? Or do you think that people should maybe do a little bit of research before they play it? Or do you think the fun lies in them? If you told people, bear with it, give it 2 or 3 hours of your time and just get hopelessly lost and see what happens, do you think people would enjoy it? Or...
You would have to be a very specific person to enjoy it straight off the bat.
Yeah.
To enjoy the failure. Like, if you picked up something like Dark Souls and got your ass handed to you, like, after not playing a game like that ever, and then just suddenly going into it, and then just every single enemy just smacks you into the ground until you fucking learn it. If you enjoyed that rate of failure, then yes, by all means, go into Morrowind, just completely blind, just figure it out as you go, piece it together, just have fun drinking the whole thing in.
Yeah. But again, that gave me fun, because I was able to kind of go, oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing now, and just kind of forge my own path and see what was going on. That was a real nice thing, but your attention span when you're younger kind of gives you a little bit of an edge, I think, when it comes to trying new games out now, because you're more acutely aware of your time now. Especially kind of like if you were the usual 9 to 5, or if you got like a shift job going, you kind of value what time you get at the end of the day, and knowing that you're going to have to put in, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours a night to sort of
You don't even have to. The problem is it sucks you into that much of a point that 2 hours fly by without you realising. You're like, oh shit, I've not done the dishes, the washing needs hanging. You know what I mean?
That's if you're enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it, you can go, what am I doing with my life?
Well, yeah,
I would definitely devote a day from a weekend from it, at the minimum, just to put it on and see how you feel about it. But I would definitely recommend reading something about it, though. You know, just to give you a little bit of a start. Some like, a little trick you can do just to establish yourself, get some gold, get like a decent weapon or some gear. Then, by all means, follow the main quest, don't follow the main quest. The game's booklet itself explicitly says, do what you want. If you want to be a wizard who wears heavy armour, yeah, go for it. You know,
there are mechanical drawbacks to
it's not a very clever thing to do, but you can at least do it, and you'll then be able to tank hits. So, yeah, I think it's a very worthwhile game playing. And I would say it still holds up 15 years later, to be honest.
I would definitely say yes.
Yeah.
I wish so much deep down that more games will be made like this. It is so much like a tabletop role-playing game. The simulation is so in-depth in so many ways. Like, I just love playing around with the mechanics of it. And it makes me a bit sad that I can't do that with the more modern ones that look prettier, like Skyrim. You know, most of the dialogue is not voiced, it's written, so you will be doing a lot of reading. The second pillar of wisdom now is, if you're going to be on the PC, try as hard as you can not to use the console commands. Because
we've all fallen victim to that.
Once you've made yourself godlike within the game and you can do everything, doing stuff loses meaning. Like the joy is in the challenge. So give it that chance and actually play it bit by bit, and then worry about breaking the game later on down the line.
Yeah,
you've got to
I mean, I'd even advocate, in my own opinion, to play it on Xbox, even though I wouldn't recommend that for anything else, because you don't even get the opportunity to use the console. I'm the first person to go, this isn't working out. Well, set strength 500. Now I can clobber.
I have played it on PC, I've seen you with your modded version, and I still prefer playing it on Xbox now, because it locks me out of the console commands. It means that I have to come up with more creative solutions to getting around stuff. And again, it's a big joy. And like, when you have thought your way around a situation, like, you feel fucking amazing, you know?
But yeah, play it, read it, think about it. I think it's worth a go. How do you sign off on these? You can't use someone else if something's done.
Matt, I don't care about using something else someone's done. We're done now. Fuck off.
Yeah, I'll do.